Hey, Free Spirit Beaters. This is Kristen Fagan here with a new episode of Free Spirit Beading here on the Softflex Company channel. Thanks for joining me today. We are here designing with the WigJig, and I'm happy to be back. Missed you guys last week. So today is October 21st. I always like to say the date in the beginning because I do talk about some of the sales going on the website. And so I want to make sure you know that it's the week and stuff that I'm talking about. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Lee. Good to see you guys. I did. I had a really nice time last Monday. I had a friend in town and we ended up taking a nice hike around the lake. So it was really a beautiful day. I enjoyed it. Hi, Pamela. And I'm happy to be back and making some quick spiral earrings with you guys today. So we have two sales going on. Like I said, today's October 21st, and we have two sales going on this week. We have a BOGO. Hi, Susie. Hi, Beth. We've got buy a WigJig, which WigJigs looks like this. We have two in stock. We have this one, which is the Delphi, and then we have the Olympus Lite, which I'll be using the Olympus Lite on the video today. So buy any WigJig and you will get a free pattern booklet. And just a note on the WigJigs, they are very similar. So the pattern booklet does say for use with the Delphi, but you can use it for the WigJig Olympus Lite too. The holes in the WigJig Olympus Lite are a little bit larger and a little further spaced apart, and the Delphi is a little bit more petite. The holes are smaller and a little bit closer together, but the location of where the holes are is the same, so you can easily adapt a pattern for either jig. I just want to make sure you guys know that. And so you buy a jig and you get a free pattern booklet. We also have 20% off all of our Softflex craft wire, which is what I'll be using for the spiral earrings today. And that comes in 18 to 28 gauge. I will be using 18, 20, and 22 just to kind of show you guys some options, and any of those would work for this project. We also have a bunch of craft wire colors that we've put on closeout. Those are 30% off, and then you will get an extra 20% off with this sale. So both these sales, the buy a jig, get a free pattern booklet, and the 20% off craft wire, end tomorrow at midnight Pacific time. So end tomorrow, October 22nd at midnight Pacific time. All right, let's see. Let me go ahead. Hi, Virginia. So let me get started with you guys. I've got a parent-teacher conference this afternoon, so got to get going so that I can get out the door and make it to my parent-teacher conference in time. Let's see, I got a ton of stuff on my beading table today to talk to you guys about. So this is the WigJig Olympus Lite that we'll be using today. And just to show you the comparison with the Delphi is just, and the holes and stuff are just a little bit smaller together. So it'll make a little more of a petite design versus the WigJig Olympus Lite. And then I'm also going to be using the super pegs. We have super pegs for both the Delphi and the WigJig Lite. So these are the large super pegs in the, they're kind of an acrylic, I guess, or these white ones here. And then I've got these small super pegs, which are the metal ones. So I'm going to be using both. I'm going to use the large super peg to make our spiral, and I'll be doing the smaller super peg if you want to make a pair of ear wires, although you can make a larger pair of ear wires with the large super pegs too. So that's just up to you. I've got this mix here. This is the Golden Gate bead mix. These are limited quantity. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can find them at softflexcompany.com right now. And they matched our Golden Gate design kit that we worked with this month. Tools, I've got a pair of nylon jaw pliers, a pair of cutters. These are a pair of flush cutters, Softflex professional flush cutters. And when you cut on this side, you'll have a nice flush flat cut. I've got a pair of round nose pliers and a pair of chain nose pliers. And then if you do want to make yourself some ear wires, you'll need this kind of tool. It's called a burr cup, and that will just file off the ends of your ear wire for you. So that one's optional. And then for wire, oh, I also have the wire whacker. So we're going to use this to work harden the wire after we create our shape. And this is called the wire whacker. So now we've got Softflex craft wire. So Softflex craft wire is a copper colored wire. It's 100% lead and nickel free. And it comes in all sorts of different colors. It does have a coating on it, so you have to be careful when you're working with color that you don't nick the wire at all. You can use your tools with tape on them. You can also use something called Tool Magic if you find you're working with a lot of color wire and you want to protect the wire you're working with. So this is the smoky quartz color. We have this color on closeout, and it's really a nice dark brown color, but when you look at our picture online, I don't feel like it does the color justice. It looks a little bit more like a gray brown to me in the photo online. So I just want you guys to see it's a really rich dark brown color. So this is 20 gauge. I had a little bit left of 18 gauge, and I want to show you guys the difference. So here is the spiral with the 18 gauge, and here is the spiral with the 20 gauge. So you'll see this one's quite a bit thicker and firmer, and this one's a little softer. So this one's going to be a little bit easier to work with, the 20 gauge, and the 18 gauge is going to be a little harder to work with, but I love the thickness of 18 gauge. I really like working with that. If you do want to make yourself some matching ear wires, you're going to want to do it in the 20 gauge. So if you get just 20 gauge, you can make the spiral and the ear wires. Or if you like the larger look, you can get 18 gauge for your spiral and then use the 20 gauge for your ear wires. Yeah, it's really a fun design. And I've been making a ton of spirals over here. I know, it's quite the size difference, isn't it? I also did a 22, and I did that in the vintage bronze. So here's our vintage bronze color, and this is in 18, and then I'm thinking this one, I did this one in 22. And you can also use 22, I believe, for ear wires. I tend to use 20 gauge for ear wires, but I think you can use 22 pretty easily too. I would stay away from 18 gauge because sometimes just can't get it through your ear holes. I know I have one ear that will fit an 18 gauge and another ear that won't. So that is why I tend to stick to 20 gauge when I'm making ear wires. I also played with our square wire. So the square wire comes in 21 gauge. And this one gives a really fun sparkly look to it because the wire is square instead of round. I'll show you one that I actually hammered out here. So here's a round shape, here's a square shape. Sarah is saying 22 can be a little flimsy unless it's pretty small. Yeah, I think 20 is the best one to stick with. I really, really like the 21 gauge square wire. I think that came out really fun, and it just has a neat shine to it. I am going to show you guys how to make a quick ear wire. Yes. All right, so let's get started. So here is how I have my jig set up for the spiral. I've got these little pegs here, and then I have a super peg. This is the medium size. This comes in the large super peg, and out of the large super peg pack, there's 3 sizes. This is the middle one. So this is larger, this is smaller, and then this one is the middle one. And then I am gonna play with, the 20 gauge vintage bronze right now. So I'm just gonna smooth out my wire using my nylon jaw pliers. You're welcome, Beth. And yeah, you know, the square wire is still pretty new to me, so I don't feel as, you know, I haven't been using it for quite as long. So I've been trying it out as I do different things to see how it looks, and it always looks like a lot of fun. I like that shininess to it, but you use it very similar to round wire, or at least I have so far. I've just been using it the same way I've using the round wire. So I'm cutting off about, I didn't measure it, but it's about 7-8 inches of wire. And now I'm gonna take my round nose pliers and I'm gonna make a loop. Just gonna go around and make myself with a little loop here to attach to my first peg. I'm just using regular pliers, and I went about halfway in to make sure that it was large enough loop to go over my pegs. If you're doing a lot of jig work, we have a tool called the Fine Step Jaw Plier, and that is shaped the same as the pegs on both the WigJig and the Delphi. There's 2 steps there. So that's a great tool to pick up if you're doing a lot of jig work and you want to make sure that you make your loop to start the right size. So now I'm going to place my loop on this top peg right here. And I'm doing my loop facing up. So there's the bottom of my jig, my loop is facing up, and then I'm just gonna twist the jig and I'm gonna go around this peg here. Now I do have my little super peg in the way, so I just kind of bend my wire a little more than sometimes you do with other patterns. But I'm twisting the jig and I'm holding my wire, and now I'm gonna go around this peg here and come back on the inside of my round super peg. And then I'm gonna spin, and you see I'm just keep spinning the jig more than I am pulling on the wire, because it gives you a smoother look and it's a little easier too. So you come all the way around to the top again, and then I'm gonna go around once more to about there. And then I can take my pattern off the jig. And this is what I've got. I'm gonna go ahead and trim off the excess wire, and I'll hold on to this to make my ear wire. I'm gonna trim it off about 5 o'clock here on my circle. And I'm gonna trim it with the flat side facing the wire I wanna keep. So now I've got a piece that looks like this. I'm gonna grab the end of my wire with my round nose pliers right there, and I'm just gonna make myself my first loop. just like that. Then I'm going to take a pair of chain nose pliers and just going to scoot little by little to make this spiral. And actually you can even just use your fingers on this one too, especially if you're using 20 gauge, because it's a little softer. But I like the control my hands have. So once I'm gonna actually just use my fingers to fiddle, as James would say, and just tighten up that spiral. And you can get this as close as you want. You could pull it out further. You can kind of play with how you want that design to be. Yeah, spirals have been around forever, right, Thomas? They're just like, they are a cool sacred symbol. So now I'm just pinching that together and I'm pinching this together. You can use your chain nose pliers too to pinch it down. And you just fiddle it around until you're happy with the shape. And you'll see my shape is still a little bit wonky. It's not totally flat. And that is where your wire whacker comes in handy. That will help us flatten it out. So spirals represent like the journey, the circle of life. They've been linked to nature. You'll see lots of different spirals in nature. They talk about like the path of life and growth and all sorts of good stuff. I have so much stuff on my table right now, it's crazy. So now we're gonna do Sarah's favorite part, which is the wire whacker. So this is just 2 pieces of acrylic. And the acrylic is really good to work with your colored wire because it's not gonna mar it or anything. You're just going to whack it, give it a couple of whacks, and then I like to flip it over and whack it again a few times. So Softflex craft wire is a soft wire. So when you do the wire whacker, you are going to be hardening it. You can harden Softflex craft wire up to half hard. I do go to town and I actually will do it a few more times usually because I like when it's a lot stiffer. But you'll see now my pattern is flat on both sides. The wire, this particular wire does have a color enamel, and then it also has a coating, a nylon coating on top, which makes it hypoallergenic. And you can use a nylon hammer, but you cannot use a metal hammer on it because it will chip away at the color. The only one that we sell that you can use a metal one on is the bare copper because that does not have any coating on it at all. So you can use a nylon tipped hammer if you want to work harden it with that. Or you can do something like this. I really slam it down. But yeah, as you can see, now my design is flat on both sides. It's no longer wonky like it was before. So sticking with my 20 gauge, teach that craft wire who's the boss. Yeah, I don't want wonky craft wire. So this is my little piece I had left. It's about 2 inches, I guess. I'm just gonna use my chain nose plier to hold it and straighten it out with my nylon jaw pliers. The other thing you can do, which I learned, is you can actually take your nylon jaw pliers and also squeeze the wire this way to work harden it. And so that's nice to do if you just need a little finishing, I guess. You can kind of give it a good squeeze all the way around and that'll work harden your wire a little bit too. So now I have this little part set up here for my ear wire. This is using the WigJig Olympus Lite super pegs in the small size. So the small size is metal, and you come with all of these different shapes here. Beth is asking, so the wire whacker can be used on the square wire too? Yes, it can. I used it with the square wire. And you'll see kind of, let's see if we can see it here. So I did use the wire whacker with the square, and you might see that there are some areas that sort of, I don't really see too many. They get a little more flattened than others, I guess, maybe right here and right there. And that works for a really nice like variation on the square. So we'll start this one the same way. I'm just gonna make sure that I've got my wire cut flushly on both sides. The square wire looks really cool, doesn't it? I love it. I love it. Maybe I'll show that one after this if I got a moment. So I'm gonna do the same thing, make my little P loop. And I'm gonna have my P facing out. Elizabeth is asking, do the metal pegs come with the kit? So these little pegs here do come with the kit, yes. So all the little ones do. The round ones you buy separately, because you can make plenty designs with just the pegs themselves, but if you want to have the round part, you'll need to grab one of the super pegs, either the small or the large. And it comes with 10 pegs in the set. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the little peg right here, and I have my loop facing out. And then same thing, I'm just gonna turn my jig just like that. And I have a really awesome ear wire. Now you can decide how you want your ear wire to look, if you want it to stay long, if you want to have it shorter. I usually cut mine just a little bit longer than where the loop is. And then using your chain nose pliers, you just grab the end and twist your wrist, give it a little bump out, just like that. And then lastly, well, I shouldn't say lastly, first you have to stick it in your wire whacker once again. And like I said, I like to spin it and do both sides. And then I would use my burr cup, which I had at the beginning of the show. Where did I end up putting it? Where did you go? Oh, it fell on the floor from all of my wire whacking. So this is the burr cup, and it's got a little file on the end. So you just stick that in there, and you can kind of twist it back and forth or roll it around, and you want to make sure you get all the different sides of your ear wire, and that will just file down your copper wire so it's not pointy. And there, we do have some ear wires in the booklet too, yeah. So if you get yourself one of these jigs, you will get a free pattern booklet with it. Let me show you guys a few pages in here, because there are some projects and some ear wires as well. One of the really nice features is at the back, you've got the WigJig Olympus and the WigJig Delphi little setups here, so you can draw out some patterns. You can photocopy this, you can scan it and print it. You can even photocopy it and then laminate it, so that if you use like a dry erase marker, you could just wipe it off and reuse it over and over again. What's nice about the patterns too is you can stick it stick your jig right on top of the pattern so that you can play with drawing it out here and then see where your placement goes because they're clear. So here are some ideas. There's some bracelets. There's this nice clasp bracket hook. Some neat little charm bracelets. This shows you how to make this twisty component. So wig jigs are awesome for components and things that you're gonna have to do over and over again because you just set up your pattern and see, I have too much stuff on my table. I'm knocking things over. You set up your pattern and do it again and again. This is the 3-strand hook and catch that Sarah showed us the other day on Facebook. Let me see, I know that there are a couple of ear wires. Yeah, there's one ear wire set up here. And then here's another type of an ear wire where you have beads added in the middle. So it's a neat little booklet, a handy little booklet to have, and you'll get it for free. It's normally $11.95, but you'll get it for free this week until tomorrow at midnight when you buy an Olympus Lite or a Delphi jig. All right, so we made an ear wire, we made our spiral, and then I wanted to show you guys some fun ideas you can do to sort of extra embellish. So in this particular one, I added a bead and a tassel from the Golden Gate bead mix. And then on this one, I'll do the square too, yeah, so you guys can see it. I added one of those boho beads at the top and a little beads at the bottom. These are kind of longer. So if you do like a shorter earring, you might like something like I did with the square where I just put a bead dangle at the bottom. And this one I just attached to our ear wires we sell at Softflex Company. So instead of making my own, since it was silver, I just added that one. So I'll show you guys the square wire since it looks so cool. Okay, so the square wire comes like this, and this is 21 gauge. And I am gonna cut off about 8 inches. We've got the square in a couple of colors. I'm not sure right off the bat. I think we've got copper, silver, and maybe a gold. I feel like there's 3 in the square. So I'm just gonna really carefully straighten that out a little bit. Beth says, this can really save a lot of money if you can make your own clasp and ear wires. They can get expensive. Totally. And honestly, I love making my own ear wires. I don't do clasps quite as much. I really should. But I love making my own ear wires because I really like fun, different shapes that you can make that are kind of unique to you. So it makes it a little even more your own, you know? Okay, so I got my little starting P. I'm gonna do the same thing I did the first time. I'm just gonna put it on that top peg. And then this is a little softer of a wire, so it's a little bit easier to maneuver. I'm just gonna twist my jig and hold my wire, twist it again. Go around my super peg. It's totally a stress relief, especially when you can hit that wire whacker. Although I do freak out my dogs. They always go running when I take that out. Beth, I'm not going to be able to make a clasp today. I'm sorry. I'll have to do that in a different video. I don't have a ton of time today. And since I didn't get a chance to practice doing one, I'll have to save that for one in the future. Yeah, I totally freak out my dog. Oh, Sarah made one last week on Facebook, which is, I think, going to be moving over here to YouTube this week. So if you're not on Facebook, we should have it up on the YouTube channel within the next day or so, and you should be able to see the clasp there. Awesome. Okay, so I did the same thing I did on the first one. I'm gonna snip the wire at about 5 o'clock with my flush side facing in. And then I'm gonna grab a hold of that wire end. Oh, am I using my round? Yeah, I am. Okay, I'm gonna make my round nose plier loop to start it. And then grab a hold of my chain nose plier and start working around my spiral. One of the things I didn't mention is that the WigJigs are made with a really strong acrylic. They are not going to warp, and the holes that your pegs go in, they are not going to loosen up like some other plastic jigs and stuff you can find on the market. So they're really heavy duty. So now I've got my spiral. And I'm going to use my chain nose pliers just to kind of, and my fingers. I like to use my hands a lot. Kind of pinch those loops in. Just like that. And then you take your wire whacker. I might be able to. I did try. I couldn't quite get the pegs closer in a way that made sense. So I ended up pinching them. And there you have it. And I mean, this square wire is just so fun. And I actually made the little dangle with the square wire too. I don't think that's necessary though. It's what I had on hand, so I did it. So it's good to see that you can do it, just like you use a round nose. When you have time, will you make a Delphi version? Yeah, sure. When I get back later this afternoon, I can make a Delphi version and then share that in the Softflex VIB group, so you can see the difference in size that gets created with the two things. And using a smaller super peg too. You mean using a smaller peg for the bottom spiral? Or using the smaller Delphi super peg? And as you can see on this one, I actually squished it a little bit closer. So you can take this pattern and kind of tighten it up a little bit if you want to. You just keep rolling this spiral and you can squish these down just to get them a little bit closer. All right, guys, I think that's it for me today. So fun. Like I said, we do have a few of these left. So if you like these colors that I got to use here, I totally love the blue and the browns together. I think they're really a pretty combination. Sarah says, you got my thumbs up. Thank you. So fun. And look at all these fun spirals. So just quickly, I have a few other examples I wanted to show you. Remember we made these earrings a couple weeks ago. They were done on the Delphi, and that was more of a geometric shape. So you can also do things like this with the WigJig. And I did this one with the craft wire too, and I made like a little diamond. And so these were just done with the pegs on each corner here. And you can also do ear wires like this. If you like big round ear wires, when you're using the super pegs, you can do a round ear wire like that. That one looks like I probably used this one. Yeah, so I use the same one, the middle of the large super pegs to make that ear wire. You can make all sorts of components. Like this can be a component that can be for an earring or for like a pendant, or I don't know, a couple of different things. So, so that's why they're really, really fun, really universal. Is that the word? Versatile. That's the word I'm looking for. Versatile. All right, let me switch you guys up and say goodbye. Let you know of our couple of our videos that are coming up this week. We've got a ton of videos. We have a Facebook Live bead sale from the Softflex Company Warehouse and Gallery tomorrow, October 22nd at 1 p.m. Pacific time on the Softflex Company Facebook page is where you will see that. Those are always a lot of fun. They go live. That'll be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then you'll have until Sunday to shop. But a lot of stuff is limited supply or one of a kind, so you want to get in and see the video as soon as you can to grab things and before they're gone, before they're sold out. Then we have October 23rd, which is Wednesday. We have Sarah, Facebook Live on the Softflex Company Facebook page, jewelry making tutorial at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then on Thursday, we have the Golden Gate design entries are due. So if you have bought the Golden Gate design kit and been working on your jewelry, go ahead and post them for the giveaway by the 24th. And then we will pick a winner to win one of our future kits. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the Softflex Company VIB Studio Facebook group, and that is where everyone posts their designs, and you'll get some more information about our kits and stuff too. And then lastly, on Friday, we have a new series that Sarah started last week over here on YouTube Live called Easy Holiday Crafts and Ornaments with Sarah Ayler. And that is at 10 a.m. Pacific time this Friday. And then it will be for a handful of Fridays leading up through the holidays. So catch us all over the place this week. And I will see you guys here again next Monday at noon. Have a great, great week. Happy to be back, and I hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial. So busy, so many videos. It's so great. It has us all super inspired. So, all right, talk to you guys later. Bye.